So we're excited to announce yet another feature update. As you go through different parts of the site, you're going to notice a new button that says View Checklist. That's both on the website and the app versions. I want to kind of explain to you today where this came about, some ideas on how to use it, and then just kind of some next steps we're planning on taking with it. So we know one of the big things in your ministry is being able to keep track of who's done what needs to be done, or maybe just some basic information. So we wanted to kind of give you this possibility through checklists and do it in different ways. So you can do checklists for groups, events, all your students, all your leaders, or on an individual basis for students and leaders. And that way you have a lot of different options. We know you've got a lot of different things to keep up with, and you need to keep it separated out. So for example, I've started creating some checklists. I've got a United group here. So if I go back to groups and I hit edit group or view group, I'm going to see this checklist option. This shows up for admins and leaders, so that way they can help you out with updating who's turned in what and done those things that they're collecting forms for you. And you can see I've got a checklist here. All right, background check, gifts inventory. Now you're going to notice it cuts off, and that's because we're allowing you to do unlimited checklists, and there's no way to guarantee we can know how many you're doing. But you can simply begin to scroll. They all show up. The column stays frozen so you can see who you're dealing with, and you can do all of that there. How do you add them and create them? Real simple. You just go add checklist. You choose, is this for leaders? Is it for students? Or is it for both? You can decide, but you have to choose one. You title it, and if you want to, you can choose a due date. Okay, you don't have to. That's optional. But if there's a due date for this item, you can do that. You click Create Item, and then what happens is that pops up as a new column. If it was just for leaders, you'll notice that it just shows up on the leader side. If it's just for students, you'll notice it leaves the leaders out. Okay, so, but all the info's in there. What happens later on, you need to change something, just click the heading, the form pops up, you can change the due date, you can change the title, or if you messed up, hit cancel, it goes away. And so you can continue to add, update, and do all that information as you need to. Now what happens when something's done? So this is me. Let's pretend like I haven't turned my background check in yet. Yesterday, I turned it in. I checked the box, it updates it, you're done. No submitting a form, nothing like that. It's updated in the database. If you refresh, you'd come back and see a nice checkbox. Okay, so you can see a lot of different options. So for example, with this group, maybe there's a list of things that I need from everyone: a background check, a spiritual gifts inventory, info cards. Maybe this is a thing, and you can check and see who paid. If you wanted to, you could expand it out and just not just do payment, but you could do paid cash or paid check, and then scroll through and make sure at least every person has at least one check, and then you've got another record keeping system. So a lot of different options, ways to do it, and ways to check it out. Now I will tell you, you're not going to see the date due and the date completed right now, but we are storing them on the back end. So if you need those dates, let us know. We can export a CSV file, PDF for you, send that to you so you can have that information. What's happening is with every new thing we add, it's getting harder and harder to keep everything clean and straightforward and simple, and so we're just kind of trying to figure out how to best display that information for you. But do know we are keeping track of that, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why here in just a bit. So that would be checklists for groups. But let's say you need to do it for events. Now, obviously, we've got our edit events screen. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down here to the bottom, and I've got this event here. I'm going to edit it. Okay. And so I can do a checklist for an event. Now, I haven't created any items, okay, but if I did, they would show up. But here's what I want to show you. So I know that as an event goes, so after you've taken attendance, you could, if you so chose, you could do a checklist to, for example, let's say you want to keep track of who you followed up with. So you would have that option, if you so chose, to go ahead and say, okay, I want to do a checklist, and I'm going to see who I followed up with and who I haven't. So follow-up email. I'm going to send everybody an email, and I can see I haven't done that yet, and so I can come back and check. Or there's a registration form for this event, and no one's turned it in. Okay. Now, on that registration form, obviously that's not very helpful if the event's already happened. So here's what a little trick I want to show you. Since we have this new edit event screen, okay, I'm going to go to groups. Okay, I'm going to view them, and I'm going to go down my Trusty United group here. Okay, I'm going to pretend like United's a fall retreat. It's not. It's our midweek service, but I'm going to pretend like it is. And I'm going to create an event name. Okay, I'm going to call it United 2017. And the date, okay? And this event's going to happen on March 1st, all right? Now, I'm not going to check anybody because this event's in the future and no one's there. I'm going to submit attendance. It's submitted successfully. Now I can go to my events, scroll away on the bottom. I've got United March 1st. Now watch this. I'm going to edit. Charts may not be there because obviously nothing's happened yet, but watch now. I've got a checklist, okay, where I can go for students and go, okay, I need their registration. All right, I'm going to create that item, and now I can see who's created registrations for this event in the future. Okay, let's say, we do time away cards. So you need to know who's got a time away card. Sorry about that. I'm going to create it. And now I can see which students have time away cards. What that is for us is like when we do like a Disciple Now or a retreat, some kids have to go to baseball practice, basketball tournaments. We allow that, but we need to know when they're getting picked up, when they're coming back, who's picking them up, that kind of information. And so you have all those options there. For registration, you can even set a due date if you so chose. And so you know when that's due. And just kind of as a reminder. And then you've got that. And then what happens is when the actual event comes about, you can now use this as your attendance as people walk in. Leaders could do the same thing, and they could take attendance for you, and they could submit the attendance. But this way, you can do those checklists leading up to the event. But as we said, you could also use this as an after thing for follow-up. Now, I mentioned students and leaders. I'm not going to show you both because they look exactly the same, but you can do a view checklist for all your students. So one thing I've been kicking around doing is sending out a text survey, just kind of knowing what kind of technology do you have access to, are you using, just to get some information for some things I'm thinking about. And so you can see, I've got all my students here, and I can see who's done that. All right. You could do the same thing for leaders. Maybe every single leader is required a background check. Probably so. Maybe you've got a kind of a theological survey you do to make sure that their beliefs are aligned with your church's beliefs, and you could add that as well. And then you've got that history of who's done what once they enter your ministry. Okay, so you could do that for students and leaders. Events, groups, but let me show you something else. As you obviously start to create more and more groups, events, checklists, it can probably get a little crazy to keep up with who has done what along the way. And so if, let's say, I've got Faith Carnes here, they bring me their registration or something else, and I can't, it's too much to go group and click through, but I just want to look at this kid. You can pull the kid up. You can see all the group checklist items that apply to them, the event checklist items that apply to them. So it'll check and see, are they part of that event because they're in that group, or are they part of this group, period. You can also do it for all students. So again, that text survey, I can see that. Or you can make individual checklist items just for the student. So every time I add a student, I'm wanting to make sure I do a text contact for them or something, or just this specific kid, because I had a conversation and it said, something about this kid says I need to check in on them this week. So I'm going to do that, and then I can go through every time and kind of scroll through my kids and go, oh, I haven't done that yet, and I can do that. So all students, all leaders, groups, events, and then also individual students and leaders can each have their own checklist items. So I've been trying to organize this for you, think it through, and just give you another tool to use at your disposal, again, on the web version or the app version. As far as what comes next, I mentioned, we are going to work on how to display that data for you as far as the dates, but if you need it, we can export it for you. But I want to tell you another reason that I encourage you to put those due dates in. Our next step as far as upgrades, along with a few other little things along the way as far as some cleanup and stuff, is trying to make the cloud smarter, to make it a better assistant and helper for you, because we know some of you don't have any interns, any assistants at all. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing is making it to where it goes and checks, hey, do you have some stuff that's due in the next couple of days? And sending you that list of who hasn't done it yet. And then also if something passed due from the past couple of days, and sending you that list of contacts to say, hey, here you go. You don't even have to mess with finding it, because I know it can be a lot to find. And that's only if you put a due date, because if not, we're just assuming it's something that's kind of general for you as a reminder. But that's all going to be based on those due dates. So I do encourage you to put those in, because we're going to work on, again, making it smarter, making it a better helper for you and your ministry, and just sending those reminders so you can have quick, easy access to who hasn't done what they need to do yet, or who just missed and did late what they were supposed to do. All right, so that information's there. It's coming. That's kind of the next thing is we'll be working some other ways to make the program smarter and a better helper and assistant for you. If you've got questions, let us know. I also want to let you know, this came out of someone put some information into the product, but then they're also trying to update the information, and so I'm working on doing that for them. And they had some items they wanted to keep track of, and I was like, you know what, that's a great idea. We need to provide that for you. So built this in, so now I can go do their upload. All that to let you know, if you have ideas for features, please let us know. If you need some uploads done for you to get started from a past system, as long as you can export that to some kind of spreadsheet, we can get it in for you. If you can only do it as PDF, we can do that as well. It'll be some manual typing. We don't mind helping out and serving. Please let us know that. Also, if you've already got some students in, but you need to do a mass update of information, send us what you have. We'll work on it. We're here to serve. We look forward to continuing to serve you. We look forward to new and future updates to make this even a better service for you. And we thank you so much and hope you have a blessed day.